Hello guys, and welcome to your perfect diet tutorial. So the aim of today's tutorial is to give you a better understanding about how the changes in your hormones during menopause are affecting your weight gain. Just to give you a better understanding of that, there's a lot of misinformation going about, especially lately regarding weight gain and the menopause and why changes in hormone levels are causing weight gain. So we're going to clear that up today for a start, because that's really important. We're also going to have a look at things that you can do to not combat this, because obviously hormone changes are something that you'll deal with your GP, not with me, but the external factors that are influencing your weight gain, what you can do about that, that's where I come into play, how I can help you with your diet, exercise, manipulating calorie balance and energy balance and all that kind of thing. That's what we're here to do. So we're going to have a look at energy balance as well and see how that influences weight loss and weight gain. And at the end, you're just going to have a clearer idea and some actionable steps that you can do to get started straight away. So hopefully by the end of this, you just have a bit more clarity about hormones and weight loss, and also energy balance and weight loss, and how you can create your perfect diet to help with your weight. So let me just share my screen here and we'll have a look. So you've got your PDF as well, if you want to open that, and we'll check out my screen here. Oops, that's not sharing, 1 second. Here we go. Okay. So let's get started then. So your perfect diet, not necessarily the perfect diet. There's no such thing, as we know. Nothing's ever going to be perfect all of the time, and we're not looking for that. I just thought I'd go for your perfect diet, because it's got to be what works for you, in the closest sense to perfect that we can get. So again, the big thing that we focus on in this By 90 program is make sure we're not following any rigid rules or restrictions or anything like that. We want your diet to work for you. So the perfect diet is the one that you can stick to, and the one that fits with your lifestyle, with your personal preferences, that you like, that you don't like, allows you to socialise with your friends and enjoy meal times with your family, and you don't feel like you're missing out on life because you're always on a horrible, over restrictive diet, basically. So let's have a look at weight gain first of all. The weight gain is so common in menopause because there's a lot of changes going on with our hormones. So I'm wording that carefully, because the hormone changes aren't what causes weight gain. When we come to talk about energy balance in a wee minute, that will make a lot more sense. But if you have changes in your hormones and you don't eat, you're not going to gain weight. Okay, so if you were to starve yourself, which is not what we want at all, but if you were to starve yourself and your hormones were to change, then you wouldn't gain weight, because you're not taking on those calories, you're not taking on excess amount of calories and storing it as fat. So it is the excess calories that causes weight gain. It is not the hormones in themselves that cause weight gain. So the bottom line, it's not your hormones, it's not changes in hormones that are causing your weight gain. Okay, so that is a really positive thing, and that is something that's going to make you feel like you have a lot more control about this situation, because there's not much you can do about the changing in your hormones, obviously, other than HRT and things like that that you can discuss with your GP. But if it was just purely hormonal, and that was what was causing your weight gain, that would be quite difficult to try and maneuver. But you're 100% in control of that situation, because it is the calories that you're consuming and the energy that you're expending that is that is the cause of weight loss and weight gain. Okay, so you are in control. It is not, although the changes are happening to you, you can still do something about it. Okay, so it is a positive thing when I say that it's not your hormones that are causing your weight gain. That is a good thing. It is obviously diet and exercise and all these kind of things, but these are things that you are in control of, that you can do something about. So I would take it as a positive that it's not a hormonal reason that is causing your weight gain. Okay, and if people tell you it is because of hormones, it is not. Okay, if you were stuck on a desert island somewhere and you were starving, yeah, if you were physically starving to death and your hormones were changing, you'd still lose weight. Trust me. Okay, it's not because of your hormones. Okay, it is diet, exercise, energy balance. This is what we're talking about. So your hormones are changing, your estrogen levels drop. And then I've put here, when researchers used HRT to slow down or stop fat gain in menopause, it didn't make a difference in overall fat gain in menopausal women. Okay, so this means that the hormonal changes are not the primary driver in menopausal weight gain, which is fine. Yep, that is okay. We're good with that. It's not a negative thing. It's positive because it's not these hormones that are causing changes in your weight. It is the way you're consuming calories and if you're not using up enough energy. So it's a good thing. Men also gain fat at the same rate as women in their 40s and 50s. So it's not just women who gain weight, but it's a more of an apparent thing, and it's unfair, it really is, but there's just so much more pressure and attention put on women gaining weight, because not that it's harder for us to disguise, but the clothes that men typically wear, you wouldn't really notice them gaining weight as much as women. You know, like if we were to wear shirtless tops, sleeveless shirts, blouses, things like that, vest tops, you know, your hormones can influence where you carry fat, which we'll come to in a minute, which is why you typically find, you know, around the back of the arms and around the middle, and that can be a little harder to disguise because, you know, tight fitting clothes or, you know, dresses, like I said, the sleeveless tops can show this off more, whereas men can, you know, typically wear, you know, the longer sleeves, if they wear suits, baggier clothes, things like that, you know, they tend to carry it differently to women, and also because, you know, God forbid we put on weight, whereas it's okay for a man to do that, but it's not for a woman, and we are typically shamed a bit more for that, and that is why it's so much more apparent. So men and women typically do gain weight at the same rate in their 40s and 50s, but it's more of an issue that's put to women in comparison to men. So the midlife weight gain can be contributed to several factors such as moving less, having less energy, life stresses, and poorer diet decisions. So moving less, you know, when you're maybe in your teens, 20s, 30s, you might be more active, you might have more free time to do things, to do activities, to come and go as you please. You know, this might be before you have a family and things like that, and responsibilities and having to be there for other people as much. So you can kind of do your own thing. You can go to the gym whenever you want. You might take up sports, things like that. Whereas as you maybe get a bit older, you might have more responsibilities in your work that kind of restricts how much spare time you have, and kind of take over your spare time. Also looking after people, whether it's younger family members or older family members. If you've got like aging parents and things, maybe people who do keep so well, then you might have to be looking after them a little bit more. You know, you might have more responsibilities in terms of running a house, all these kind of things that take up more time and mean that you have less time to be active and on the go. And yeah, like just in general, moving less. So you might not be going out as much, you might not be out and about, you might be a lot more sedentary at your job, you might just be purely desk-based, whereas before when you were younger, you might have, you know, been out and about a bit more to do with your job, so that might be another thing. And just moving less in general, but also because you have less energy as you get older, that might, you know, make be more of an effort for you to be moving about. So because you have less energy, you might be less inclined to take the stairs or just get up and walk about more frequently and things. You might be prone to just be more comfortable sitting a lot more, because you have less energy. And that's that kind of vicious cycle. Because you have less energy, you're less likely to move, and because you're less active, then you have less energy and you feel lethargic, and it just kind of goes on and on. We've talked about that before, but that kind of vicious cycle of movement and low energy. But that's a typical thing, and because you're moving less, you're using less energy, you're burning less calories, and more likely to gain weight. Life stresses, again, like I said, is having more responsibilities for other people. So you might have young family, older family members, you know, more responsibility in your job. All these different things can contribute to taking up more of your time and having less time to focus on yourself. Having more stress might lead to poorer quality sleep as well. And you might just be feeling a bit more frazzled, again, having less energy, might lead you to making poorer diet decisions, because you've got so much to do that you're eating on the go, or you might just be craving sugary things just to try and give you some more energy. So you're eating higher calorie foods, maybe less nutritionally beneficial foods. So you might not be, taking the time to meal prep or to cut up vegetables. It might be such a faff. You might be having things that are quite convenient, takeaway, something that's quick. Again, because you've not got a lot of spare time. So it's all these things, all these factors combined together that, it might not seem like a big deal, but over time, if you're consistently not moving very much, if you don't have much energy, you've got a lot of stress, and you're not eating very well, you're not looking after yourself, after a while, that will cause weight gain. And before you know it, you've put on a lot of weight, and it can feel like you're stuck in a rut, and it's really hard to make changes. But if we even look at each of these things individually, there are things you can do. It just might feel overwhelming trying to do everything at once. But if you break them down, there's absolutely things you can do. So let's have a wee look at what you could do. Do you identify with any of these factors? Is there things that I'm saying here that are kind of resonating with you? You're thinking, yes, that is me. That is how I'm feeling all of the time. I have got so tired lately, and I just have no inclination to go and exercise. I really do not feel like working out because I'm always shattered. It might be that you've got so much stress going on. You might have so many responsibilities, or lots of stuff to do at work, that you just, you feel mentally drained at the end of your workday, and you just feel like going and doing a workout is the last thing you want to do. You might be working, stuck to your desk first thing in the morning until late at night, and before you know it, the whole day's passed and you've barely even been up moving about. You might not have even had a chance to go for a walk. Things like that. If you're doing that all the time, you're barely walking about, you're barely moving, and even not even thinking in like a weight sense, just think of how your body will be feeling from that, from sitting all the time. Your joints aren't going to be appreciated, your muscles aren't getting used, and you're just not using up any energy. Your brain will be feeling really sluggish, so that's not going to make you feel good in general. Never mind how it's going to impact your weight. If you're, the poor diet one, like I said, you might be eating for convenience, always on the go, not taking time to consider, the nutritional balance of your plate or of your meals. And again, if you're overeating, consuming too high calories, then it's going to cause weight gain. So what you can do in your own little PDF is write the current contributors, if you have any, in all of these boxes. So if it's moving less, it might be that you're stuck at your desk all day and you're not taking time to get up and be active. You might not have your commute to work anymore if you're based working from home, whereas previously if you were commuting into the office, you might have been walking to the train station, or you might have had a walk from the train station to get to your office, and you might not even have that anymore. That might be a factor. So what can you do about that? Well, you could get up a little bit earlier and go for a walk, because you're not going to have much of a commute from your bed to your desk if you're based at home. So you can create that commute instead, and you can go for a walk after you've had your breakfast or before you settle down at your desk. Try and do something like that if you get less energy. How's your bedtime routine? Like, honestly, proper child stuff, but we've talked about sleep in one of the other slides in one of our tutorials before. If you missed it, you can go and check that one out, because it is very important. Having low energy is awful. It makes you feel so sluggish and irritable and grumpy, and it can just really ruin your day. It takes its toll on your relationships, on your job, your quality of life, and everything. So if you're not sleeping well, if you're having low energy, then we want to make sure we're doing something about that. So you might need to have a look at your bedtime routine. Even if you're sleeping, you might not be having very good quality of sleep, so you're still waking up tired. Are you on electronics late into the night, so your brain's still buzzing by the time you go to your bed? Are you doing work in your bed? Are you taking your work to bed with you and still type and working away, so that your brain is still working hard even when you're trying to settle into sleep? Are you just going to your bed too late and getting up too early, and you're not sleeping an actual enough length of time? All these different things that you can have a look at, and try and create some solutions. So something like that would obviously be try and turn off electronics, have a electric curfew, that you put all your gadgets and stuff away at, so you can give your brain a chance to calm down and kind of detach. Maybe making sure you don't take your work to bed with you, and having separate spaces. I was definitely guilty of that when I was a student and just sitting in bed and working and typing away. And you kind of lose that that separation where your bed is for sleeping, not for working. So you still have that, you kind of create attachments there and you don't properly switch off. So that could be another one. If you're not sleeping enough, go to your bed earlier, you know, something like that. It's not difficult, but when you break them down, you can obviously see where all the problems are and how they're affecting. Poorer diet, for that one, you might just need to take time to meal prep at the start of the week, to batch cook, freeze some meals, have stuff put by so that if you are in a bind or you're tight for time, you've got stuff there that you can just grab and either heat up in the microwave or defrost and have that ready for that night if you know you're maybe going to be working a little bit later and you're not going to get in the door till about 8 o'clock. And if you can't be bothered cooking at that time, at least you've got something that's defrosted and just needs heated up. Simple things like that. But again, that's what I'm here for. If you need me to help break any of these down, then go for it. Get these in the boxes, whatever your issues may be or whatever the contributors may be to each of these wee sections, and then let me know and I'll be more than happy to help you come up with some solutions for that. Now, tummy weight gain. So I touched on that earlier. That is the main problem that women going through menopause have that I've dealt with. So in my experience, the women who are trained, who are going through menopause, it's always this kind of area around the middle that they are noticing they are gaining weight. And that is because, as I mentioned earlier, your hormone changes can influence where your body fat is stored. So we know that your menopause isn't the cause of your weight gain. You are not just gaining weight because you're going through menopause. It's because your body is changing and you're going to be storing fat differently because of the hormone influence. So your estrogen, the decline can influence where you gain more fat. So you might have typically, maybe gained a little bit of fat maybe in your boobs before. If you've ever gained a little bit of weight, you might have felt it a bit more here, or maybe in your legs, around your thighs maybe, or around your bum, whereas now you're like, oh, so many women, I've never had fat around my belly in my life, and now all of a sudden I've just got this kind of like barrel of hair, it's called, like people refer to it as that, or like a spare tire kind of thing. And it can be quite unsettling. It can be, really horrible for some women to experience this because they've never had it before, and you just feel like it's happening to you and there's nothing you can do about it. But as we've already said, the hormones are happening to you, but the weight gain is something you can still control. Okay, that is not out of your control. You can do something about that. So hormones are going to influence where excess fat is stored, which is frustrating and annoying and can be really disheartening for women, but you can do something about it. Okay, now we can't pick and choose where we lose fat from. It will be an overall process, and it might just be that this is going to be a stubborn area and it's going to take a little bit longer to come off of there, but it will happen. We just unfortunately can't say, right, I want to lose some fat from my belly and that is it. It doesn't work that way. It will come from your whole body, but it might just feel like it's a little bit more stubborn in certain areas. But that's okay. That's just going to be perseverance and patience, which aren't the sexiest words and aren't the best things to market, unfortunately. As a PT, nobody wants to hear you just need to be patient and stick with it. We want to give you all the fancy, solutions, but I'm just being honest, and I want to be as realistic as possible with you guys instead of just giving you false hope and talking utter bullshit, to be honest. This is all it is. It's just something that you'll need to persevere with, unfortunately. But you can do it. It can be done. I've got clients who are doing so well in the past, currently, just going through the process, ticking the boxes, and obviously it's individual to everyone, but it works. I promise you it works and it can be done. So like I said, the hormones can influence where your body fat is stored. Underneath the arms is a common one, around your triceps, or the bingo wings as we call it. That is another common area that fat begins to store in menopause due to the hormone influence. So if you're gaining excess weight, then it might be gathering around here and around your belly fat. So like, yes, it can be distressing if you've never carried weight here before, but it can be harmful, especially carrying excess weight around your abdominal. So this is really common in men. They will typically gain weight around the middle. This is something I've discussed before with my clients. Like, you can get overweight men and they don't have like bingo wings or anything like that. They still have kind of toned arms, but they just tend to get this kind of beer gut they kind of call it. And that's more dangerous than having excess weight around your thighs and things, where women, like our younger women or women not going through menopause, would experience weight gain. And this is because that fat kind of gathers around your organs. So if you think around your middle, all your major organs are going to be here. And it's a thing called visceral fat, and it's basically fat that is just around your organs. They call it the silent killer because you can't really see it as much. Also, you start to see it once you gain abdominal fat, but a lot of this visceral fat can be so dangerous. You can get people who are even not underweight, people who are not overweight can still be unhealthy and have unhealthy amounts of visceral fat. You just can't tell. So we really don't want you to be having excess abdominal fat because of the risks that come with it, and things like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. These all start to come into play as well, and we do not want that. So let's touch on energy balance. We've already established that it is an unbalanced, misbalanced energy that is causing your weight gain, not hormones. Okay, so if you're gaining weight, it is because you're consuming more calories than your body requires. So if you are fairly active and you are on the go quite a lot, your body might require 2,000 calories just to maintain your body weight. Okay, so if you're 60 kilograms, always on the go, your body will require 2,000 calories to maintain 60 kilograms of body weight. If you are overweight, then and you are consuming a certain amount of calories, whereas you're not very active, your body might only require 2,000 calories to be a lower weight, then you're over consuming and you're going to turn those excess calories that you're consuming into body fat because you're not burning it up, you're not using it, so it's just going to get stored as fat. So this is the most important thing. First and foremost, when it comes to weight loss, weight gain or weight maintenance, energy balance is key. So it's not fancy diet shakes, regimes. These are not secrets. Intermittent fasting isn't an amazing thing that causes weight loss. It is the calorie deficit. Keto is not an amazing thing that causes weight loss. It is the calorie deficit it creates. So all these named diets, at the end of the day, they are creating a calorie deficit. That is what works. It is not what is actually the diet makeup. Okay, it is the calorie deficit that will make you lose weight. So if you want to manage body fat distribution, then you might want to speak to your doctor about hormone replacement therapy, so HRT, because if your hormones are really influencing where you're carrying fat, if you feel like you're gaining a lot of weight around your middle, around certain areas, then go and speak to your GP about getting HRT, and that might help with the fluctuations in your hormone levels. Because if you're already, if you're going to be focusing on your diet, focusing on your exercise, being more active, getting sleep, managing stress, all these kind of things, they will do so much to help you. But if your hormones are really out of balance and causing a lot of trouble, then you're going to want to speak to your GP about it, because I can't do anything about that. But the HRT might be really beneficial for you if you're able to take it and if it's suitable for you. So we're not going to talk too much about energy balance because we've already covered it before. I'll put a link for the energy balance and calorie counting PowerPoint, and you can go through that. But basically today we're just looking at so much more. We've not got enough time to go into it all, but you can go back and look at the PowerPoint that's already covered up. And yeah, I'm just saying, you don't need a super restricted diet, a crash diet. You do need to manipulate energy balance through diet and exercise, and that is how you'll create a calorie deficit. But again, there'll be more on that in the energy balance and calorie counting PowerPoint. So finally, let's talk about actioning your audit. So what can you do, okay, to take control of this situation? So if you are struggling with your activity levels, then the action can be to increase your daily activity levels. What can you do to increase your daily activity levels? The challenge would be to choose how to track this and record it. So this is where steps come in. If you have not seen it, there is a tutorial all about steps and steps for success. So you can go and look at that. If you don't really understand much about NEAT or your get why increasing activity levels are so beneficial for fat loss, go and have a look at that tutorial. But whatever your issue may be, we can break it down to an action that you can take to overcome that topic, and then you can create yourself a challenge so that you can focus and dig in and try and come up with something to help with that. Okay, so activity levels are the issue. Increase your daily activity levels will help with that. Choose how to record and track this. So it might be you want to get more steps in. Okay, so record how many steps you're currently doing. So maybe do that for a week, give you a rough idea how active you are. Say you're only doing about 4,000 steps a day, then you can challenge yourself to do 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day and increase it. Okay, so you're pretty much aiming to at least double it to 8,000 steps. And you're going to record that using your Fitbit or something like that. Okay, and that is your action and your challenge. Your nutrition, you might want to evaluate your plate. So you can use the guides, the Eat Well guide, which breaks down your plate and like how many veggies you've got, your micronutrients, the protein in your carbs, all that kind of thing. So evaluate your plate. You can do that for a week. Every meal you have, maybe rate it, see what your split is in terms of all your macros and micros, and be honest. Just be as honest as you can and say, is this diet good enough? Is this going to work for me? And then the challenge could be, maybe you're not eating enough fruit and veg, and your challenge could be have 28 portions of fruit and veg a week, which sounds a lot, but if you break it up over 7 days, it's only 4, which is actually less than the government guidelines of 5. So that is achievable. If that is too far off, if you're not even eating like 2 portions a day, then you could just make that your challenge. And it would be 14 portions of fruit and veg, and then you can increase it as you go. But something as simple as that can make such a change to your nutrition. Sleep. Are you having a clean sleep? So you need to do your evaluation of your room. Have you got lots of tech around you? Is your room really stuffy? Have you not got like blackout blinds or something? There's a lot of daylight coming in and keeping you awake. Is there a lot of noise going on? Is there a lot of clutter in your room? Have a look if your room is clean enough for your quality of sleep that you want to have. And the challenge might just be to turn off your tech. So if one of the things you like, if you're saying, yeah, keep my iPad beside my bed, or I'm watching telly right before I go to sleep, then turn off the tech and set your tech curfew for maybe an hour before you go to bed till your baby calms down. Wellbeing, so quick comparisons. So you might be scrolling through Instagram, comparing yourself to other people, comparing your progress to other people's, maybe comparing any aspect of your life to other people's, and it's just constantly making you feel down, not feeling good enough, all these kind of things. If that is something that you're guilty of, then you might want to create some awareness of that, and maybe start unfollowing people on social media that are making you feel that way if they're just not bringing anything to you. Obviously, it's not their fault. It is you that is comparing yourself to them. So just take away that temptation, unfollow them, and maybe do something like that. So there's so many things that you can do. Make this specific to you. Obviously, you can change this on your own wee PDF when you go to fill it out, but make this all specific to you. There's certain things that you need to work on. Set yourself some actions and then create a challenge to see how you can improve it. Okay, so although I called this your perfect diet, these slides, it's about so much more than that. It's about your HRT, and it's about recognizing energy balance and understanding energy balance and understanding that your hormones are not what's causing you to gain weight. It is your diet and your energy balance. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. If you want to go and fill these in, and just take your time, be as honest as you can as always, and what have I done here? Stop share. Yeah, just be as honest as you can and think about things that are so specific to you that you can do with working on, and that can improve, things that you can be doing with some help with. And like I said, I'm here to help you if you need it. So give me a shout if you need a hand with any of those little tasks, and I hope that you find them quite useful. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial and found it helpful. And as always, if you need me, just let me know.